British East India Company by the middle of the 18th century realized that feeling of nationalism is not there in India, and therefore British East India Company decided to establish political control over strategic provinces of India, and therefore it marks the policy of British political expansion in India. Clear? So first of all, we'll discuss political and territorial expansion of British East India Company over India after they eliminated the European rivals from Indian territory. Clear? The first province to be annexed by British in India was the eastern province of Bengal, which even included the provinces of Bihar and Odisha. Clear? So first of all, we'll discuss about the conquest of Bengal province. Clear? So let us look into the history of Bengal province. Clear? Understand chronologically, you get questions from all these political conquests. Clear? Province of Bengal became prominent under the rule of a Mughal governor, Murshid Quli Khan. Clear? He became the governor of Bengal in 1700, remained on this post till 1727. Since he became governor in 1700, after the death of Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb in 1707, Murshid Quli Khan began to rule independently over Bengal, that even included the provinces of Bihar and Orissa. For prelims, chronology of rulers is important. Clear? Murshid Quli Khan, clear, was followed by another ruler known as Shujauddin. Shujauddin ruled from 1727 till 1739. Shujauddin was followed by another ruler known as Sarfaraz Khan. He could rule only for 1 year, less than 1 year in fact, 1739 to 40, and Sarfaraz Khan was assassinated by a powerful ruler, Aliwardi Khan, who remained as ruler from 1740 to 1756. In 1756, Aliwardi Khan was replaced by the Nawab of Bengal known as Siraj-ud-Daulah. He ruled from 1756 to 1757. Now we'll discuss about his reign. Clear? Siraj-ud-Daulah. This is the chronology of rulers. Prelims, you need to understand, you have to maintain this order. Clear? Now at the same time, when Siraj-ud-Daulah came to rule in 1756, by this time, Bengal was very important for maritime trade. Both British and French were trying to establish their control over Bengal, and British East India Company by this time has acquired 3 villages in Bengal known as Kalikata, Govindpur and Sutnati, and combining together all these villages, they established the modern city of Calcutta. Clear? Right now, the present city of Calcutta has been renamed as Kolkata on the basis of this name, that is Kalikata. Clear? City of Calcutta was established, and at Calcutta, British began to construct a fort. This fort is known as Fort St. William. Fort St. William. Clear? At the same time, France also wanted to have control of Bengal, and France began to construct the fort at Chandarnagar. Siraj-ud-Daulah came to power when all these developments were going on. Siraj-ud-Daulah asked both British and French to stop their construction work in Bengal. Clear? He had his capital at Murshidabad. Clear? The demand of Siraj-ud-Daulah was accepted by French. They stopped their construction work, but British went on with their construction work. Since British went on with the construction work, Siraj-ud-Daulah decided to take a radical action, and therefore Siraj-ud-Daulah led a surprise attack on British forces on 20th of June 1756. Clear? In this, British forces were defeated, and Siraj-ud-Daulah handed over the charge of Calcutta to a leading trader, and this trader and officer of Bengal was named as Manik Chand. Clear? So Manik Chand was declared to be officer in charge of Calcutta by Siraj-ud-Daulah, and thereafter he returned back to his capital city of Murshidabad. But here an important controversy took place. It is claimed largely by British historians that Siraj-ud-Daulah arrested 146 British soldiers. They were placed in a small room, and due to suffocation, out of 146 members, only 23 of them survived, and this incident has been projected by British as the Black Hole Incident, also known as the Black Hole Tragedy. Clear? This tragedy was projected by British authority largely to malign, to tarnish the image of Siraj-ud-Daulah. And after this, clear, when this tragedy was highlighted by British, they began to play the role of divide and rule. And in order to play the game of divide and rule at this time, clear, Robert Clive, the British governor at this time, began to negotiate with leading officers of Bengal. And Robert Clive negotiated with none other than the commander-in-chief of Bengal Army, Mir Jafar. He also coordinated with Rai Durlab, Jagat Seth, the leading trader, and even officer in charge of Calcutta, Manik Chand. Clear? Since feeling of patriotism was not very strong in India, all these officers shifted the loyalty, and after taking these officers into confidence, Robert Clive challenged Siraj-ud-Daulah. This battle between Siraj-ud-Daulah and British forces took place on 23rd of June 1757 in the battlefield of Plassey. On the banks of river Bhagirathi, near Murshidabad, the capital of Bengal Nawab. In this battle, the commander-in-chief, Mir Jafar, did not participate. That easily led to the defeat of Bengal forces. Thereafter, Siraj-ud-Daulah was forced to step down, and when Siraj-ud-Daulah stepped down from the throne, British appointed Mir Jafar to be the next Nawab of Bengal from 1757 till 1760. Clear? At this time, when Mir Jafar came to power, terms were dictated on Mir Jafar. Among those terms, the most controversial was British made it clear they want cash prizes as gifts from Bengal Nawab, and Mir Jafar accepted the provision that he will provide cash prizes as gifts to British officers in India. At the same time, British officers were not supposed to pay any tax, and to ensure this liberty of not paying tax, they were to be given certain trade passes or certificates. These certificates came to be known as dastaks. Clear? Dastaks. With all these conditions accepted by Mir Jafar, he began to rule. But very soon Mir Jafar realized, that amount of cash prizes demanded by British is much more, which is not possible to be paid. And therefore, Mir Jafar began to retaliate. British asked him to step down. Mir Jafar stepped down in 1760 to be replaced by his son-in-law known as Mir Qasim. And Mir Qasim remained on the throne of Bengal from 1760 to 1763. Mir Qasim tried to prevent the misuse of dastaks, because British not only used these dastaks for their own exemption, they began to sell this dastak even to Indian traders as well. And therefore, Mir Qasim decided to abolish all forms of taxes in Bengal. Clear? Since Mir Qasim decided to oppose all forms of taxes in Bengal, dastaks. So Mir Qasim wanted to prevent the misuse of dastaks, and thereafter Mir Qasim was forced to step down. Mir Qasim stepped down in 1763, but Mir Qasim decided to take revenge from British, and thereafter Mir Qasim made an alliance with Mughal Emperor Shah Alam II and the ruler of Awadh Shuja-ud-Daulah, and the three powers clashed against British forces in the battlefield of Buxar. Clear? That in the battlefield of Buxar. In this battle of Buxar, clear, fought by between the British and three Indian powers. In this battle of Buxar, Indian forces were defeated by a British officer known as Major Hector Munro. Major Hector Munro. Clear? And after defeating Indian powers, British authority imposed humiliating treaties on Shah Alam II, whereby Mughal Emperor Shah Alam II granted Diwani rights to British East India Company over Bengal, Bihar and Orissa. And at the same time, it was also made clear that Mughal Emperor will be shifted from Red Fort at Delhi to Red Fort at Allahabad, where Mughal Emperor will remain merely as the pensioner of British East India Company. Clear? At the same time, treaty was imposed, or Treaty of Allahabad was imposed on Shuja'ud-Dawla, whereby he was supposed to surrender the fort of Allahabad for Mughal Emperor, and he was to pay 50 million rupees as war indemnity to the British. It was a big loss at this point of time. Clear? And moreover, British deputed its military forces in the capital of Awadh, and that marked the beginning of a system known as subsidiary alliance, which was formalized later on by Lord Wellesley in India. But genesis of subsidiary alliance can be traced back to the development that took place in Awadh, where British residents and officers began to be posted in the capital city of Awadh by this time. Clear? All these developments took place, and meanwhile, after Battle of Buxar, British authority again appointed Mir Jafar as Nawab of Bengal for second time. He remained as Bengal Nawab from 1763 to 1765. Clear? In 1765, Mir Jafar died, and he was succeeded by his son named as Najm-ud-Dawla. And Najm-ud-Dawla remained as Nawab of Bengal from 1765 till 1772. By this time, when Najm-ud-Dawla began to rule, British were exploiting the resources of Bengal without any care. In fact, British emerged to be the real masters of Bengal, and Bengal Nawab was just the formal head. This kind of arrangement whereby two authorities began to rule over same province simultaneously, this arrangement is known as dual government in Bengal. So, dual government existed in Bengal from 1765 to 1772. And in this phase of dual government only, British went on exploiting the resources of Bengal. We'll come to subsidiary alliance. Clear? Okay, began to dominate over Bengal. Clear? And at this time, Bengal faced a severe famine. In 1770, this famine, or Akal, it is known. Clear? This famine claimed as many as 1/3 lives in the province of Bengal. Since 1/3 people got washed away in this famine, British East India Company needed some resources to deal with this calamity, and British East India Company applied for loan assistance from British government or British Parliament. And till this time, it was a pure private trade, but now British authority got right to look after this private trade. British Parliament and British government decided to regulate this private trade in India, and to regulate this trade, British Parliament enacted the first regulating act known as the Regulating Act of 1773. And while deciding the provisions of Regulating Act only, British abolished the dual government in Bengal that even ended the rule of Najm-ud-Dawla. So finally, the rule of Bengal Nawab came to an end in 1772. That started way back in 1700. Clear? This resulted into the end of the rule of Bengal Nawabs by the second half of 18th century, and British Parliament began to regulate the affairs of this private company along with Court of Directors in London through Regulating Act of 1773. We'll come to the provisions of Regulating Act of 1773. Is this clear? This chronology is clear of Bengal Nawab, conquest of Bengal. Okay,